Hi, I'm Madi from Inspired Leather, and today I'm going to show you how to use up some of those smaller scraps of leather to make really fun cord keepers. Now, these come together quickly, and all you need is leather, snaps, and some setting tools. I'm going to go over how to cut the leather and apply the snaps in a second, but before we get to that, let's talk about the type of leather that you want to use for this. Now, you can use either chrome tanned or veg tanned leather, and I have a couple of examples here for you. So this is a 4 to 5 ounce. It's a softer leather here, and it has a really beautiful suede back on it. This is nice because on some of the pieces, you'll see that wrong side. So you want to make sure that the back side does look kind of decent for this project. I also have some lighter weight veg tan here. Now this is a dyed veg tan with a glaze, and you can see I actually cut off the skirting. And these are pieces that are harder for me to use since I typically make bags or hats. So this would be really perfect for things like a cord keeper. And again, on the back, it looks pretty decent. So this, we can have plenty out of this. And now let's talk about the type of leather that you don't want to use. So I don't have many recommendations here other than try to avoid lining. Because these snaps are pretty strong, they've got some serious hold. See, you can actually hear them. You want to make sure that you're using a leather that does have some oomph that can stand up to it. So I would not recommend a lining leather. This one is about, it's about an ounce to maybe two, and it's got kind of a funky back on it that wouldn't look good anyways on one of these cord keepers. So just keep that in mind as you're walking around the house looking for some scrap leather. Now let's head on over to the table so I can show you how to cut a cord keeper shaped like this and apply a snap. So let's discuss the supplies that you're going to need to make these. Now you're going to need leather. I've got a bunch of different types here, veg tan, chrome tan, all kinds of stuff. I'm going to show you how to cut a new one using this leather. The back looks pretty decent, and that's what you really need. You're also going to need a ruler. I like this clear square. It's actually pretty decent. It's 4.5 inches wide all the way around, which is great because that's the size that we're going to need here. And we're going to measure 1 inch up for our cord keepers, just like that. Something to cut with. I'm going to use this rotary cutter. It's what I prefer, but you could also use a blade. And something to punch holes with. You could use a single hole puncher or a tool like this. This one's convenient because it has different sizes. And of course you're going to need snaps. I have a couple of different colors here. A hammer, mallet, or maul. And you're also going to need setting tools. This is a set that I picked up. It has a little tiny anvil with a rounded indented surface here, and two of these setting tools for the male and female ends of both the snaps. Now I'm going to show you how to make a tag that's shaped like this, which is like kind of a long trapezoid, and when you fold it over, it has that fun little ribbon-like edge. So grab your leather, and we're going to measure down 4.5 inches and up by 1 inch, and just cut that out. Now we need to cut the diagonal, and I'm going to use this line right here, and I'm going to put it right up against that bottom edge and slide it over so that way the corners match up. And I'm just going to cut off that little bit right there. And this is a 45-degree angle. Flip it around and do the same exact thing on the other side. And now you have this really long trapezoid, I think. And when you fold it in half, it does give you that ribbon shape, just like that. Next, we're going to need a hole in the middle, about there, in the middle. And so in order to apply the snap, we need to make sure that the edges are even. The snap
is kind of large, so I'm going to kind of measure that up to see how far up that hole needs to go. After I've got an idea, I'm going to grab my multi-tool and I'm going to put a hole through both thicknesses here. Let's just punch that out. And that's what we have. Now let's apply the snaps. So I'm going to grab the 4 different pieces that I need, and I'll do the gold so that they're a little easier to see, hopefully. Make sure that you have all of the different pieces here. This is the critical part if you want your snaps to actually function correctly. So there are 2 prongs, and they have the full snap backs. So this is going to go on the right side. And you can see here we've got 1 prong that has like a little tiny small hole and a divot. Let me see if I can zoom in on that for you. See, this is the one that the male part is going to go on. That little divot will basically collapse when you hammer on the male part, and it'll make it so that way they can't be pulled apart. Let me show you what that piece looks like. See, these 2 pieces will go together, and they'll sit right on top of each other like that to get hammered. The other set is going to look kind of similar, but you can see that there is a much bigger hole in the other snap. That's what we'll lay the female piece over. And this is what the other piece looks like. It's basically got a little hole in the middle like a donut, and you overlap these 2 pieces, and that prong sticks up through the middle. And with the setting tool, we're going to flatten that thing on down, and they won't be able to be pulled apart. Put the snap through the leather. We're going to apply the female end here, which is the one that looks like the donut. We're going to lay that right on over there, and then we need to move this over to the anvil and make sure that everything is lined up pretty well. Grab your setting tool. We want the one with the rounded edge on the top. That's going to help flatten out the inside. So place it right into the middle of that prong and give it a good whack a couple of times. You want to make sure that this tool sets really well and that the snap doesn't spin or move at all. Now let's move to the other side. So grab the male prong and place it in on your leather. And then we're going to grab the male part and place it over the top of that, over the anvil. Your setting tool is the one that has a little indent in it. Place it over the top of that male part and hit it a couple times. You want to make sure that this doesn't twist, and if it does, you want to hit it a couple more times so that it doesn't. So this is what the cord keeper looks like on both sides now. Test the snaps, just do them and undo them a couple of times to make sure that they are in there nice and snug and don't need any adjusting. But for the most part, we're done. Now I've got a whole bunch more of these to make, so let's get to making.
There you have it. I mean, these things come together quickly. In about 20 minutes, I made I don't know, about 15 or 20 of them. Actually, I have to be honest and tell you that I actually got this idea from one of my good sewing friends, Christine. She was making a whole bunch out of fabric and putting them in a little jar so that way when people visited her over the holidays, they could take them or leave them. They could just take as many as they wanted, and if they didn't want any cord keepers, they could just leave them. And I thought that that was such a great idea. And since I have people coming over for the holidays as well, I thought I'd do the same thing. It's such a nice touch, and plus, it's really handy when you don't even have to sew one stitch. Let me know down in the comments below if you plan on making your own cord keepers to give away to people this holiday season as well. Or maybe you want to add them to your shop. No judging. Check out this video right over here. It's actually my bat coasters that I made, and you can actually sew those up on either a domestic sewing machine or you can do them by hand. So definitely check out that video, and until next time, I hope that you have a wonderful day. Bye.